And this is Old Man PHP. I create PHP video tutorials for the old guys who want to learn a new skill and compete with the young crowds. This is video 38F. Remember I mentioned that it was going to be a big one, and it is, which I had to break down by letters. So the next step, so far we have this. Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look. Let's go to the form. Right now we're at the form. See this? We have this. Then we added some global variables right on the form so we can hash out a token. Then of course you got your form element right here, calling the same file back, right? And of course you got your inputs, your file upload stuff, and all the different buttons that we're going to use that are like in this here. All this. So let me see something. Let's get rid of that right there. That was that test I did. Reload. There you go. So now what I want to do, and then we called itself out. Remember, this is a security thing. That means that you came, you did this, and then you did this. You typed this in, and then it says, oh yeah, he did type that in. It is the name of that file, and yes, we'll continue. Then of course you want to check out your nouns, which we already did, right? That's hidden. Where are we? This is a hidden one too. Here it goes, right here. The nouns, which gives you the PHP will actually run this. Remember, when you see something like this, this is what invokes the form. The actual, where is it? This function. Because when you write a function like this, and then you give it the end curly brace, so you know that's the end. And you got all these commands. It doesn't do anything until you do this. You call it. And that's, it calls it, does this stuff, sends this information over like this. And if you come here to see, let's go to View, Developer, View Source, then you will see, here it goes right here, all this stuff. All this stuff, see? And so what happens is it'll send it over, and then I'll read it. Where is it? Right here, and then it checks it, see? Then it checks it. Remember I told you that once you do a hash, password underscore hash, it's only one way. You can't say dehash, like to see the original before you encrypt it. No, there's one way, only goes one way, and this password verifies what you use to verify that encrypted stuff with this stuff that you gave it. And if it's the same thing, then it goes on. If it's a false, you get a message like this, and then it takes you out back, giving you an error 5, which should give you some kind of message over here. Error 5 would be something like right here. Sorry, you have a legal insertion. Okay, so let's continue. Now, the last time we mentioned that we were going to do this, right? We want to see that it's, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I went back to look at this, I forgot to add this right here. See, before I didn't have this. This part right here was missing. I went to check, and it's supposed to be done like this. So I added it, okay? So if you needed to rewrite this again, just do it. Just add these things here from here to here, and that's it. Then it should work. All right, just thought I mentioned that. I mean, in the long run, when we're done doing all these videos, because you know they are broken down in pieces. I'm going to have one that's going to discuss the whole thing all over again. I'm going to take it from the top and then just going to go down the line like this, and we're going to keep checking. I'll let you know. And then if we have to add, if I add, I'll probably would add more comments so you can kind of, you know, keep it, so that way you can always use it as a template, right? You can take pieces of it if you want, take the whole thing in if you want, but you'll learn from it. Even just using that, you will learn. Then of course PHP has 1,000 built-in functions, which you're not going to learn everything. And if so one day you're going to work on something, you're going to see something, you're going to see something about, let me see, right now I'm using that password because I think it's fantastic, really. That hash one and the verify one, you know, the verify, you check. But there is stuff like MD5 and some other ones that you can use, you know, like that, right, to encrypt stuff. But I think this is really one of the best ones, best way to do it. But we'll discuss this too, man, so you can have an option. All right, so I want to continue, right? Because now I want to insert stuff to the database. Like, in other words, right now if you press this, it doesn't do anything because it'll come this way, it'll do this, because it's all part of nonsense stuff. That's okay. Then you have your connection, doesn't do anything yet. Then of course you got your global messages. That's what those little messages you get. Then of course you did the filter of sanitizing that information. And then over here it says, oh, did you press insert? Yes, I did. And you keep going. If you didn't, then of course, let's see where it goes. Right here. And then does the insert. And if it didn't do it, right here we'll have an else if and go somewhere else. Right? If this didn't work, okay? But if it did work, which happens to be here, because that's what it was a button that you press, then it continue, right? So I said, well, let's check for emptiness, which we did. And if it didn't, then it redirects you out with the different messages, right? Then we trimmed it, then we replaced all this crap, which is the SQL injection, I should say. And then we stripped out all the crap, just in case. We even did the HTML entities, like for quotes, you know, like for these things, and for these, you know what I mean? So then what we did, we created an array with which is called an associated array because you have this, which is the key and value, right? And then you did it for each one of those, right? And then you compared to see, hey, do you got anything that says delete? Do you got anything that says insert? Blah, 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 blah. Right? That's for the insertion stuff when you do SQL stuff. So it runs through it, and so if it's illegal insertion, gets you out, does that. Then what we did, we made the first letter of each of those names to caps and the last name. Then we decided to check that I only want either lowercase or uppercase, right? That's what this does. And then now we're going to continue. Now we're going to do the stuff that why you wanted to insert information in, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say dollar, oh, that was a whistle. We're going to say DB because now we're going to start dealing with the database stuff. Then we're going to say select because we want to select asterisk from, what's the name of the table we're dealing with? Right here. It's under this database. This is the table right here. So if you look over here, you see it. Table, temp, table. So we're going to deal with that. That's be temp, table. Did I spell that right? Sure did. Right, so we're gonna do that. Then where I want to add this where part, meaning that I want to check within an email, right? Because you did you're going to put, you're going to do this, then you're going to put this email. But then if you put this email and it's already out there, you're going to have duplicates. So I wanted to check to see if you do exist, if you don't exist, and you have to go back to the form, put something else. So if we did, let's see, what's that, temp? That's kind of what we call it, right? Let's see. No. Evan. Temp ID. Temp email. Okay. So you say temp email. Temp email. Right? And then we're going to say equal to, let's put a space there. Then we're going to say dot, and we're going to put in the actual, whatever, this one. I'm going to put that right in here. And then I'm going to close it up, right? So we'll close it up with suicide. Why is this thing connected? Huh. You believe this? I completely forgot to disconnect my stuff. Huh. That's terrible. Anyway, and this chair sucks. So we got this, right? So we got this, and then we're going to add, within those two things, we're going to add this one. Where is it? Right here. Take that out, because these needs to be in quotes, right? And then you're going to put it in. Well, that's the editor, gives you that, gives you the other one. So right now we have this like this, and then we got this like this. That should do it, okay? Alright, so then I want to do my connection. Now remember what I said, that when you create a function, I'm going to go back to the connection one. This one, my connect. Let's see what this belongs to. Right here, see? So when you do this, it doesn't do anything until you call it. Alright, so we're going to call it. We're going to call it, we should put it right here. Makes sense. Remember that you don't need that $sign because it's a function. Why I do that, I don't know. I tend to always double up on my stroke. I don't know, it's just crazy. My connect, okay. Alright, so when you do that, right, now it's going to run it, and then we're going to use, because remember, when you do this, when you run this, it creates, remember I told you it creates this is a blueprint of what a PDO is, right? So when you say new and you assign it to this variable, this variable will become the new object. The new objects, what you're going to be using. It's the best way is OOP, object-oriented programming. We'll do that on another set of videos, not this one. This is all, what we call it? Well, this is all within the HTML form. It's how people do it. We use a lot of functions. It's good stuff. I like it. So anyway, we're going to use something called the prepare statement. That's part of the method. So we're going to call it, I don't know, let's call it prepare, since it is a prepare statement. And it is statement, then underscore, should I say? Nah, let me just leave it short like that. Then we'll say $db and the actual rocket, or the arrow. This is called the arrow. When you do this stuff for here, this is the rocket ship, because it looks like a rocket. It's two different things. This is done for, okay, now that I created this, now that this is a PDO, I want to use the method within that PDO. And the name of the method is called prepare statement. Prepare. This is the best way to do it. A lot of security on this. Then you want to say check, which happens to be this. I'm gonna be showing you how to write a whole thing, how to look into just opening, checking out some file. We're kind of doing it over here, but we're going to show you in another form, that is another video, that just the PDO stuff. Then I'm going to show you another one with MySQL. Two different ways to find a data. Well, the two easy way, there's one that more easier than the other. I'll show you that too. All right, so now that we have that, because we're going to, so then comes the then we're going to be the boo, baba do. We're not gonna do placeholders here, like we talked about in some other video. We're gonna go straight up because we already know this is what we want. Okay, so we could say when do we want to say? We want to execute it. So now we're gonna say $prepare, and then we're going to say STM, which happens to be this one, right? And we're going to say execute, like that. So you're going to execute it, and then once you're executing it, meaning that you're going to execute this, then you're going to get all that information. Then you're going to close it up. So let's just do this. Close the connection, because you're going to always, you're going to be able to use it a lot in other situation, right? But let me see. We're going to say close cursor. But before we do that, see, there's two ways we could do. We could use the bindValue, which I can make this. Let me see. I'm not going to do it, but show you what it looks like. You could do something like this, right? So what happens is, if you go like, take this out, and you just do like something like this, and call it, I don't know, email. Let's say email with that. Then later on, this thing could be binded with something else, with the actual, what the hell is going on here? Excuse me, let me turn this off. I don't know what happened there. Turned on by itself. It must be in the timer. Alright, what was I saying? So what happens is, you have this. See, this becomes the placeholder. You don't even need this to tell the truth. It'll be something like this, right? So what happens is this becomes a check, right? So if you want to make this into like a placeholder, so what you do is you say, let's call it this. Let's take this. It should always be before the execution. See, because you do the preparation, and before the execution, you're preparing it, right? So you kind of go like this, and then you say, what was the name of that thing? bindValue. bindValue, like that. And then you say parentheses, of course. Okay. And then over here, what you do is you put in your actual holder, like this, your placeholder. So you kind of put it like right here. You go like this, and then you take this information and you put it right in here. So it'll be something like that. And what happens is it'll bind this email address. Where is it? Right here. This email address to this. This will do it for you. And then, matter of fact, this thing here must, I had that wrong, must have, this is how I do it. I saw that column, like, wait a minute, there's a mistake. It has to be like this. There you go, because it's red. See, it's red, so it has to be red. See, this is how it does. So it'll take that, which happens to be this, and say, oh, I want you to bind that email to this. So that when he says select this from template and template equal to that email, I just kind of do it. It's like doing this, but it's more secure because you got to go through these steps. Just to let you know. But we'll be doing that later in another thing. But right now we're going to execute this. Now once we have already executed this, what happened to the data? Now that we got that data, what did we do? Where is it? Is it sitting somewhere? Yes, it's sitting in some kind of buffer. So what you do is you say $prepare. What the hell you call that? Underscore STMS. Let me see. The prepare statement, and it's another method. Remember, it's just another function which within an object it is called a method. Method. Like that. I don't know why. I can't even hear myself, to tell you the truth. I'm so clogged up. Alright, so we're gonna do this. That's it. So that information that you got, let's check this out. This information that you got, that you put it through here and you executed it, it's got to, so I want it sitting somewhere. I want it. So you say fetch all. And then you close your connection because you're not going to need it no more. And then you come over here and you do the for each. Remember, this puts it in some kind of array. So it goes for each. And then you do this. Then what you do is you say, okay, let me do, where is it? What's that stupid thing? So, I thought I might have, man, you're supposed to put it somewhere. So we're going to say check data or fetch data. What the hell? Yeah, because I'm running it, but it's got to go somewhere. It's here, and this has become an array. And then what you do is you close it up. Now you're going to run it. So I'll take this, put it in here. Then we're going to say as. Then we're just going to call it $C data. Maybe F data would have been much better. Let's put a little space here so we can see it. Then within here, this is what we're going to do, right? So what happens is it's going to check. It's going to see. We're only getting one to check. So we're going to say if sorry, $C data, right? I'm going to improve. We're going to put in here $T data temp email. I think that's what we call it, right? Because that's what it is. Temp email right here. Okay, so man, I'm sorry, guys. Is it ever gonna finish? I don't know. Then we're gonna check, right? And we're gonna check against the $ID email. It's the stuff that you kind of sent over through here. So we're gonna do this, and this is gonna need its own stuff, right? And in this situation, if it is, let's say, then I want you to get out and put a 10. So you're going to use, let's do the header. What is it? And we're going to go like this, location. Let's copy from another, right here. Let's do this. Right over here. And we want, what are we? Let's go down to those messages that we came out with. Here we go. Your email already exists, so we're going to do 10. So what happens is it checks and says, oh, it's there. Where are we? It's there, so let's make that a 10. It goes back out there, gives you the 10, it says email has a right here. And of course you get your blank. So, but remember what I talked to you about this, make sure you put it in. People say, oh, you know, you're overdoing it. No, I'm not. I'm seeing it with my own eyes when he does the glitch and he just skips over. I said, wait a minute, how could this be? I have more experience than a lot of people, so trust me when I tell you, do it. So then what happens is, oh, if there is something that, now if there's not, I'm not gonna go like the and then put everything in here, no, because otherwise this for each, you know. So we're gonna put it from the outside. We're gonna say, should we call it just to be more, I don't know, like this. So we'll go like this and we'll say insert into, this is what's going to insert into the table. Table temp. Oop. What is it? Temp table. And then what you do is you want to insert your first name, the last name, and the email address. You don't have to worry about this ID because it is automatic. Like I set it up. Let me see if we could see it. See that key? That means it's automatic. Look, auto incremented. So if you're only going to put these things in, like to the form, it'll automatically give you the next line, which would be 30. Now it's 100, that's, yeah, 30. So it'll be 31 or something like that. Yeah, 31. So then what happens is you're going to put in the names, right? So you're going to say temp, first name. Then you're going to say, hey, let's add this. We're going to say this will be the first name. Insert into template. Yeah. The temp first name, temp last name. Then you're going to say temp email. Like that, see? And then you're going to say, okay, I want you to insert it into these fields, which happens to be these guys, right? Well, these other things are for something else, which when I do updates and stuff, you'll be able to use it. You can even add other fields, but I'm going to show you how to do that on another video. Now that we want to insert into this template table, I want to insert stuff into these fields that happen to be in this table. And you do that by going like this, right? And then you say value right next to it, like this. Then you say value, and of course you're going to have those things in parentheses, right? So you're going to say boom, boom. Now in this situation, we're going to be using the bind value. Remember I was trying to show you right here, but right now we're going to be using it. So if I go like this and I say, okay, we're going to say not that colon. Should we make these caps too? Now what the hell? First name. Then you want to make this, let's see, the first name, the last name. Where is it? Oh, it's not showing. Then you're gonna say this last name, and then you're gonna say this email. I think it makes sense just to do it like that. Keep it small. Oops, so that's it. So what happens is you do this, you enter this information. This is how you put, this is how you insert stuff from here into here. This could have been just this, like these things, but we're gonna do that later on, like right here, when we bind them. So we're binding these guys with that information. So now what I do is I'll want to bind. Now we want to, now that we got the values, we're going to run the thing, right? Because we're going to say, where is it? This again. Remember, I did that, but I also closed it up. So if you take a look, where is it? Oh, I guess not. Yeah, I guess it doesn't. It stays open to tell it, which it'll be. Where is it? Where did I go so far? Where is it? Right here. I mean, it closes it up right here. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come here and we're gonna say, all right. I hope this chair doesn't make any more noise. Sorry. What is it? My connect. See, we're gonna run that, and then once we run that, I say okay, it opens it up. Then we're gonna do another prepare state. We're gonna use the same lingo, like this one. Right, and this one's gonna be query insert. Like that. And then we're going to bind it now. Before we do this part right here, where is it? I'm going to copy this whole thing for a second, so I don't have to repeat it. I'm going to put it over here. We're not fetching, so get out of here. Of course, we close it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, put it right here. And we're going to say bind right here, bind value. And what I want to do is I'm going to bind these guys. You're going to need to do these bind stuff like, let me see what we're doing, 1, 2, 3 times. So if we kind of like, let's say this, and the first one. Where is it? This one. That would be the actual name, which happens to be this one. So what we're gonna do is take these guys, I'm gonna bind them. And remember, it has to be in single quote or double quote, doesn't matter. I'm gonna copy this. Should I leave some space so we can see it better? Yeah. So this one would be last name. This would be email. That's what we call it, email and last name. Okay. And then over here, we'll have the stuff that came from the database. We'll do this one. First name, I mean not from the database, from when we did the form validation. Where we put it right here. See? Then we're gonna, matter of fact, let's do the other one and make this into a last. And I guess this one would be email. Say email. I want to be able to make sure I'm spelling that right. Let's see, the ID email. Where is it? $ID email, this is email. We're preparing this. We're going to bind those variables that has information with these guys, the placeholders. And then this guy will execute this right here. And then it will close the connection. You know what we could do? Once we do this, we kind of put a message, right? We could kind of say get message. And then you can say your data in, what we should do? Yeah, inserted successfully. Then we're going to do this, and let's going to add some big data on just in case. Then you got this here. Boo boo. And then what else do we have? We could say, well, we don't have to do anything else. Now, we can also say, do I have another thing that I would use? Yes, successful data inserted successfully. You know, we could have kind of sent it right back up there. No, we'll probably wait for that one. All right, so we do this because you know why? What I like to do is, once this is done, then of course you can go back to here. But before we go back there, get in the habit to sending like an email to someone that to yourself. Hey, somebody just entered some information and added into the database. Plus, they can get a confirmation too. You know what I'm saying? So we could kind of like say subject. That way it'll come up on that little subject thing. And then we'll go like this. Now remember what I told you. From several videos, can't get the mail utility to work on local hosts. In the production system, it will work. Just to let you know, but I'm going to show you how it's done anyway. So what we do is we say that, right? Then we're going to say, what should we say? We're going to say hello. Then you say this like the person, remember? First name. You just added a record to your, I'm going to say database. Of course, this could be anything, right? Somebody's doing it. Of course, you say we just added data to the database. Well, we can say that to the database. It's more better. And then what would you do? That's the D. So what happens is we're going to use the mail utility, right? It doesn't work, but we're going to try to get it going here, so that way you can use it on your production stuff. So we're going to say that $ID first name, comma, $ID last name. Then you got your $ID email. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, and of course your subject. $subject. And we'll have to, I will kind of have to check on them. I think this is what we do like this, and so let's save it and see if we can get any errors. Oh, good, no errors. Fine. So we have reached the end, right? So I hope that let's fix this. We're going to be trying all this stuff when we got everything done, okay? But I hope that you learned something so far. and just leave a like and subscribe to my channel, because that really helps my channel. And until next time, a good night.